Hello, welcome to Native Yoga Center. My name is Todd McLaughlin, and today, 5 common mistakes that beginners make in Ashtanga Yoga and how to fix them. All right, so you're new to Ashtanga Yoga, or actually, this is a great tutorial, even if you've been at it for many years. Ashtanga Yoga is a dynamic method of practice that has as Trishtana, which means these 3 pillars that make up the practice, which is breath, asana, and drishti. Another way of describing asana is the use of the word bandhas, and bandhas are the internal seals or locks that we'll use. So that'll be the emphasis of our discussion today. And the first main mistake that students make, especially beginning with Ashtanga Yoga, is forcing the breath. And so what we want to do is create an even Ujjayi breathing rhythm. So Ujjayi breath is where you breathe in through the nose and out through the nose. The mouth remains closed and you squeeze a little in the back of the throat. So it sounds like, so basically that's not opening the mouth and going, heavy breathing through the mouth is is what it is not. What it is an even fluid movement of air in through the nostrils and out through the nostrils, and not forcing the breath. So this is the first main, what I pick up on often with students and in my own practice, where we go wrong is forcing it, trying to be either putting too much strong breathing into it. Try to actually create a very steady rhythm and just focus on maintaining a smooth breath rhythm. What will happen, and I'll explain a little further in a moment about the way we are working with the asana or the posture, is that then that's where we get thrown off. So the main thing is try to put your attention on listening to the sound of your own breath and try to focus on keeping the sound and the rhythm very smooth and nice and calm. The second big mistake that beginners in Ashtanga Yoga make is skipping, skipping the bandhas. So bandha starts with the letter B, and it can mean to bind. So think of to bind or bound. So basically to hold together. Now, the 2 main bandhas that we utilize in Ashtanga Yoga practice is Mula Bandha and Uddiyana Bandha. Mula means root, so Mula Bandha is the pelvic floor. So in our hip, we have muscles that sit at the base of the pelvis, and it is possible to contract and create a gentle lifting action in the pelvic floor. Uddiyana Bandha, literal translation of Uddiyana, flying upward, and Uddiyana references around the navel, often described as a few inches below, contracting the musculature at this area of the abdomen so that the combination of the root lock, the Mula Bandha, the pelvic floor, and the engagement of the abdomen at the lower part is really critical, because what it does is it helps us to work from the core. So for example, if I go into a triangle pose and I just completely relax my pelvic floor and abdomen muscles, then my pose might have this kind of hanging, like where energy is pulling down, and I'm the really only thing in this case that's stopping me from going down is the fact that I've put my hand on my leg and I'm resting down against my arm. But the general energy is pulling down, gravitational energy. And so the idea with Mula Bandha and Uddiyana Bandha is to create a lifting energy through the body. And where that comes from is through the engagement of the pelvic floor and the abdomen. So this is very much one of the big mistakes that is made. It's just completely overlooked. We often think, I'd rather not do that. It takes too much effort. Or maybe you still feel or do feel like, what in the heck am I talking about? What is he talking about? I'm not sure what the teacher is saying. So one way to just start to get a grip on the bandha is to start just focusing on what is my belly doing while I'm holding my pose. And if you can just create some awareness around your belly and pelvic floor and just try to create some contraction, you are on the right track. Every time you land in a pose and you get set up, think to yourself, am I contracting my abdomen? Or the other question, what am I doing with my abdomen right now? Try to take your mental energy, put it into what is happening here, and then see if you can feel the contraction of these muscles. And then just practice. The third main mistake that we often have is depth over consistency. In Ashtanga Yoga, it is better to be consistent and to do less. Just be consistent. Don't worry about doing so much. Try to let go of thinking I got to try to get more asana. I need to go further into whatever series I'm working on. Try to just get consistent with a shorter routine. And then depth, consistency over depth, what happens is that, okay, I want to touch my toes. So I force myself to get my toes and to pull on my toes. And I put so much energy on trying to go deep into the pose that I lose the ability to just be consistent and smooth. So I highly recommend, don't go for the depth. Focus on, I'm going to go through these three really quick here: smooth, easy breathing, engagement of the core, and just be consistent. So either A, be consistent with the breath, or B, be consistent with the breath and the bandhas, or C, just be consistent with regular and continuous practice. The fourth big mistake that a lot of beginning Ashtanga Yoga practitioners face and or find is neglecting the Drishti. The word Drishti references a focal point. And so the idea is that as we're working through the 8 limbs of Ashtanga Yoga, Ashtanga means 8, and Ashtau means 8 and Anga means limb. So Ashtanga, 8 limb, the 8 limb path. As we move through the limbs, as we go through Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, then we come to what's called concentration, Dharana. Dharana and Drishti are very similar concepts. So the idea is that we develop concentration, you develop concentration. One of the techniques is through Drishti. Drishti is taking your eyes, putting your eyes on a single point and holding your attention steady. There are 9 official Drishti points. One of them is the toes. The next is the navel. That's 2. The third is to look at the tip of the nose. The fourth is to look up, Drishti. The fifth, we have the right hand. The sixth, we have the left hand. And then the seventh, we have the right, and then the left. And did I get all my drishtis right? Toes, navel, tip of nose, upward, right hand, left hand, to the right, to the left. I think I got 9. All right. So with this being said, every time you land in a posture, for example, the trickiest one of these 9 drishti points is what's called Nasagrahi drishti. Nasagrahi references the nose. So this is the one I find we have the most trouble with, because to gaze at the tip of the nose would require taking the eyes and looking down and in, which can often create a headache-like feeling because we're taking the eyes a little bit cross-eyed looking in. So I recommend do a much softer nose drishti. Think, I'm just going to look down to wherever my nose is pointing toward, or down in the direction of my nose. So if I'm standing here in Samastitihi and I take Nasagrahi Drishti, I'm going to take the gaze and just look downward in the direction of the nose. And that way what you'll find is you'll be able to bring your attention in this direction without making a cross-eyed feeling pointing in. So the main idea, another example, again, if I just take the triangle pose, if I'm in Uttita Trikonasana, the official Drishti is Astahagrai Drishti, the hand Drishti. So if I look up, the idea is to hold the vision stable on the Drishti point. So now we have three main ingredients going on. We're holding the pose. We're focusing on a consistent, smooth inhale and exhale, breath rhythm through the nose. We're aware of bandhas. We're engaging the pelvic floor and the lower abdomen. So now we have the breath and the bandhas combined. And then the third main component is then direct the visual attention toward what the specific drishti is for the pose. There's a lot of information around drishti. The other, and I know it takes a little bit of time and practice to memorize and study all of the drishti points and what this specific focal point is in each specific posture. But to make things really easy, pick any point, make up your mind, I'm going to look at my hand, and then hold your attention on your hand. If you choose to look at the elbow, I'm going to look at my elbow, and I hold my attention on the elbow. This is a very powerful practice because it starts to exercise intent and willpower, and then the ability to hold our attention where our intent is. So this is very powerful, and it's often overlooked. So a very common mistake made that I highly recommend put your attention on it. And the fifth big mistake that's often made is just basically pushing too hard. This is really the main thing that we find is that just going way too hard, overexertion, or rushing the vinyasa. So, for example, again, I'll demonstrate the entry and movement through Trikonasana, Utthita Trikonasana. Yekam inhale. Yekam means one. Inhale is the direction of the breath. One, inhale. Two, exhale. You hold and breathe for 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then Trini, inhale. Chatwardi, exhale. Hold the breath for 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pancha, inhale. So each posture, we are attempting to get the breath to move with the pose. So a lot of times what we see is the practitioner is just kind of moving and going from one to the other and not really coordinating the body and the breath and not focusing on trying to get the inhale to go with the movement in the body down, up, and the exhale for the body to go down. So basically just slow down. Take your time. I think this really points to probably one of the biggest mistakes made maybe in life in general is rushing. So our yoga practice is a reflection of our life. If we would like to feel less rushed in life, then it's a really good idea that when we're practicing or utilizing yoga practice, we slow down in our practice. If we slow down in our practice, there's a really good chance we're going to slow down in our overall life skills and habits. It's very simple. All right. I hope this helps. If you ever have questions when I do these live tutorials every single Thursday at 11:30 a.m. Eastern and 12 p.m. Eastern time, I do these live. YouTube, Facebook, X, and LinkedIn, you can comment. So if you want to join in live, set your alarm clock every Thursday, 11:30. Join in. You can ask questions. I'll check and see. If you send a question, I can see what question you send. It comes through on the platform, and I'll happily answer any questions that you have. If there's a video you would like or a question you have you'd like for me to address, I will make a specific video for you. And now is the point where I'm going to just explain a few other offerings that I have. I have a website, nativeyogacenter.com. I offer 2 weeks free live stream unlimited yoga. I also have a podcast that I release every single Friday around 7 a.m. That's totally free. I also have a website called nativeyogaonline.com where you can try the first month free. The code is all caps, first month free. And there you can see all of our recorded classes. I teach class in our big room every single day. I have a camera in there. I record the classes and I upload them. So you can have access to that, practice anytime, anywhere, at any time of the day. Yoga has the power to completely transform our lives. I highly recommend practice some yoga every single day. If you're experiencing stress or tension or having just a generally, difficult time, yoga is a great solution for breaking through some of those barriers. So I hope it helps you as much as it does me. And again, I'm here for you. So thank you so much. Have a great day.